your head and your neck just a little bit. Maybe you want to take a moment just to kind of roll your head and then get it in a nice, comfortable, relaxed, upright position. And just allow your shoulders to fall down a little bit. Just allow them to release any tension that you're holding. Relaxation is the first part of the affirmative prayer process, the first part of what we use when we go into prayer and meditation. So give yourself a moment to just relax, to focus on your breath. Rest your hands on your lap or by your side, whatever is comfortable for you. And I invite you to take a few moments to breathe in relaxation and then breathe out relaxation. To breathe in peace and then breathe out peace. To breathe in this calming presence of God and to breathe out knowing that that calming presence of God is you. I want to invite you in this time of reflection as you connect with this divinity within you to take just a moment to recognize the powers of order and will. I invite you to consider a time where you used your powers of order and will to manifest a thought, passion, or dream into reality. What does that look like for you? What thought, passion, or dream are you proud of bringing into manifestation in your life? And I invite you to sit and reflect on your ability to bring these powers into expression. Take just a brief moment as we enter the silence to revel in these accomplishments and your ability to order an aspect of your life and your ability to use your will to choose and direct your best course of action. Rest assured in this place of silence, in this place of power and presence and faith and imagination, this place of wisdom and understanding, this place of love, that you have unlimited power. Power to order your life and make the right and best decisions for you. At this moment, I invite you just to enter the silence for just a few moments here today. Rest in the silence. As I rest in the silence, I call upon divine order for balance in my daily journey. I create a sense of order in my home, work, and activities, and I discover balance and peace. I make decisions that are grounded in my positive nature and expect them to unfold with perfect, joy-filled outcomes. I move forward with confidence as I consciously choose each step on my path. I take a moment in realization and an affirmation to affirm, I am divinely ordering my life. I am divinely ordering my life. With divine guidance, I use my will to choose the best course of action. I use my will to choose the best course of action. I rest here today for just a few more moments, breathing in order, breathing out balance. Breathing in my freedom of choice and breathing out knowing I choose the right direction. Taking a few more breaths here today. I start to gently bring my awareness back to my body temple. Maybe I start by wiggling fingers and toes. Maybe by rolling my neck or rolling my shoulders. And when I'm ready, and only when I'm ready, I open my eyes. So, was everybody able to imagine something for themselves, a way that they've used their powers of order, that they've used their powers of will? You wouldn't be here today if you haven't ordered your morning and made a choice to show up, right? We use these powers every day. Sometimes we use them a little bit more actively than others. So today I want to share just a little bit. And I say just a little bit about the powers of order and will. Now, why am I saying just a little bit? Because like all of our powers, guess what? There is more depth, more breadth to these powers than I could express in a 20-plus minute talk or in a single lifetime. So I'm going to share just a little bit with you here today. And you know what I like to do? I like to describe what it is that we're talking about. How do we define order? How do we define will? Order is our power that refers to our ability to organize, sequence, balance, and adjust. Diane, can I get that slide? Now, Charles Fillmore saw that this power of order was really important. To organize, to sequence, to balance, and to adjust. He viewed order as this divine idea. This divine idea that leads to adjustment. And that helps establish balance and harmony. So, of all these things, yes, it's important to organize, but it's also important when we make a plan to be able to adjust to things that inevitably show up after we've made the plan. Right? Meanwhile, the power of will is that ability within us, each of us, to choose, to decide, to determine, and to direct. To choose, to decide, to determine, to direct. These are important aspects of who we are. This, if any of the powers is a power of action, this is a power of action. Charles Fillmore viewed will not just as important, he viewed it as the action that moved all the other powers, all the other faculties into action. You make a choice about what you're going to believe in. You make a choice about your faith. You make a choice about how you're going to order, how you're going to organize. You make a choice about how you're going to harmonize and attract and desire using the power of love. All these powers ultimately come down also to the power of will, because it is a choice. You're going to choose not only how to harness your powers, you're going to choose how often and how much and what powers to use. Now, when we look at these two powers, order and will, and how they guide our abilities, we can see, I think, especially here when they're side by side, how they work together to bring our thoughts, our passions, our dreams, our ideas, our plans into manifestation. They're indispensable, as Rose mentioned earlier, to the creation of our experience, to the creation of the world that we want to live in. These two powers, especially the power of will, is also how we live out Principle 3 of Unity's 5 principles. We make a choice. And as Rose mentioned earlier, we create even greater things when our powers of order and will are guided and energized by that divine presence that lives and moves and has its being in us and also as us. It's not just in us, it is as us. But here's the thing. Sadly, these powers are sometimes misunderstood and, yes, often underutilized. Yeah, they can be overutilized as well. I'm not going to get into that today because I want to talk about what happens when you underutilize these powers. Because sometimes, intentionally or unintentionally, we tend to put limits on our power, on all of our 12 powers, on all of our abilities, and when we do that, we give up some of our authority over the manifestation process. We say, oh, too much for me, can't handle that, not going to try, right? So when this happens, we might feel what? We might feel like we lack the ability to order our lives. We might feel as if our lives are in chaos, as if they're disorganized, as if they're out of balance. According to Reverend Paul Hasselbeck and Cher Holton, the authors of The 12 Powers Revisited as Accelerated Abilities, a wonderful book, by the way, which our prayer team is using this year as part of our monthly study. We can have an underdeveloped power of order, and when that happens, it can result in us being disorganized, disorderly, seemingly out of balance, or having difficulty adjusting to change. When you think of order, you might not think of that last part, that adjusting to change. But that is a huge part of this power of order, is our ability to reorder, to reorganize after something unexpected happens. Conversely, if we have trouble with the power of will, we may also feel that we just lack the ability to decide, that we can't make decisions, that we don't know the best course of action, and so we can't decide. And sometimes when will is faltering, it is based on an underdevelopment of wisdom and understanding, of going within and knowing what is ours to do and having the wisdom to discern what is ours to do before we make the choice. But an underdeveloped sense of will or power of will can result in us being indecisive. The authors of this book talk about wishy-washy. How many times have you had wishy-washy times in your life, right? Being in a place where we just feel we can't make decisions. So in those moments, we might feel as if our lives have come to a standstill. We might feel like we are in the middle of the ocean, treading water, and cannot see land. We might feel like we're not getting anywhere. I hope you might relate to this at some point in your life. I'm sure you've had moments in your life where you felt like that. I know I have. I think as humans, we all have. But I can also say with 100% surety that, like all feelings, the feeling of being at a standstill will pass. It will pass. It might be a matter of minutes as you're standing in the cereal aisle trying to decide what the healthiest choice is for you to make out of the hundreds of choices there are, right? Or it might be hours or days or even weeks or months, especially with major life decisions, as you discern what is right for you, as you begin to order the process, and as you make that choice to step forward in your power. But eventually we become re-aware of these powers, re-aware of order, re-aware of our will. And with that divine presence within, we are being guided in those powers. You are guiding yourself as an expression of God in these powers. Now, sometimes when we're feeling at a standstill, our powers of order and will might get reawakened through our other powers. It might be a reignition of our zeal. Oh man, I forget how much passion I have for that. That's the direction I want to go. It might be a spark of our imagination. That's how I overcome that obstacle. So now I can order the rest of the plan or reorganize it, readjust, and make a decision. It might be through the deepening of understanding and wisdom, that power of discernment. It might even be at our ability to look at a situation and experience in our life with just a little bit more of that power of love, that harmonizing, attracting force. So I want to share today just a little bit more about these powers from my own experience. So many of you may not know how I decided, at what point I decided to apply for the ministerial path. Because I can tell you it wasn't in 2024, right? A little less than 3 years ago, after much prayer, after much meditation, after much discernment, I used my powers of order and will, along with several other powers, if not all 12 of them, to make a life-altering decision about my career and my pathway forward. Now, in the late spring of 2022, I started to imagine. I said, what would it be like if I stepped away from one of my positions at Chipola College and I no longer handled the online course design, and that I just taught, and I went ahead and used that other extra time to take additional classes and kind of speed up this process of getting on this ministerial pathway. So I envisioned, I began divinely ordering what the next steps were. What classes did I still need to take? What order, if any order, did I need to take them in? Because some of them are prerequisites for other classes. What can I do to make this a reality? In that visioning process, in my mind, I still imagined that I would be teaching part-time at the college. I never thought once about giving that up. I was going to teach, that was going to provide me a little bit of income, and I would use that income to continue to do my coursework, and I'd cut back on some of the unnecessary expenses. You know, the kind of things that I tend to purchase that I don't really need. We all have those. That's another decision, right? I still saw myself serving as a mentor, as being able to write letters of recommendation, as helping my students see from new perspectives. All things I absolutely loved. And so I took action. I made a decision. I resigned from that position. And after my official resignation date, about a month after resigning, I found out that I would not be offered my usual course load. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be offered any courses. These classes were being offered to another instructor who I was told, due to low enrollment, needed to meet their course load as a full-time instructor so that they could remain under contract. Now, I don't know if that was the true intention, or if somehow, because I said, hey, I'm stepping away, they were like, well, we'll give it to somebody else. I don't know. Needless to say, in that moment, though, I was devastated. Imagine this. I had been teaching for 7 years. And for 5 years prior to that, I had spent my time getting my undergraduate and my graduate degree so I could teach. For the longest time, I knew I was being called to be a teacher, a facilitator of learning. So I couldn't imagine not teaching. I wanted to continue teaching. I didn't want to give that up. At that moment, what happened? Fear and doubt started to set in. I had trouble with the fact that my vision hadn't unfolded the way that I dreamed it. It wasn't orderly the way I had imagined it. For several weeks, as I was finishing up teaching over the summer, and as I was taking and starting to take new classes towards prerequisites, towards eventually applying for the ministerial program, I felt kind of indecision start to arise. That feeling of standstill where I was talking to you about earlier, where I'm in an ocean and I can't see land. I was deviating from the plan. I felt like I was drifting. I began to doubt my inner power, simply because what came out in expression was not exactly how I had envisioned it. Life sometimes throws you grenades. I started questioning. I was questioning my choice. I was questioning my worthiness. Did I make the right choice? Did I do this too soon? Was I still worthy of teaching? If I wasn't offered classes, did that mean somehow I was a poor teacher? Without teaching, who was I? I started to question my very identity. Was I still enough? I'd ask for a raise of hands about how many people have been at this point in their life, but you know when you experience a loss, you start having these questions. We've all been there. But here's the thing, as time went on, in a large part to being spiritually centered, and through prayer and through meditation, I came to realize something. By saying yes to my calling to enter the ministerial pathway, to saying yes to the universe, to this power and presence that we call God, it had also said yes. It said yes. I had said yes, and the universe said full-heartedly, energetically, and with full certainty, yes, yes, yes. Door closed. I didn't expect that. Who expects that, right? So it took me a while to realize that I didn't expect the universe to respond so fervently, so openly, so immediately to me saying yes. And it also took me a while to realize with clarity that yes, I had no reason to doubt. I had made the right choice. I was worthy. It just happened in an unexpected way. My service here at Unity is a way of teaching, is a way of facilitating learning. I wasn't looking at it from that perspective at the time. I realized my role as a teacher didn't have to be in a classroom on a college campus just because that's how I imagined it. That I didn't have to have a classroom filled with young, impressionable adults to make a difference. No matter where I am, I can be a teacher. I can be a facilitator of learning. I was and I am the difference I want to make. Now, part of this process, as you can imagine, saw me harness this power of order to readjust. Because guess what? The plan wasn't what I planned. Doors closed and others opened. Now, shortly thereafter, I made another decision. It was a big decision for this congregation. I made a decision in 2022 to step up and be the lead prayer chaplain, to train a new prayer chaplain team. And so I went and I got the training and I got certified in helping to train others. And I want to say this role here has been so fulfilling, so sustaining. I've learned just as much about myself in my own process as I have facilitated the learning of others. It has lifted my spirits to new heights, and I thank every one of the prayer chaplains that were on the previous year team and this year team, because, man, it has been an amazing journey into redeveloping our awareness through prayer. But I wouldn't probably have taken that had I been teaching. In late 2022, with some of my free time, I also made another choice. I made a choice to assist with some of our social media stuff. And that choice, over a period of months, resulted in me getting offered a part-time position where, hey, I can start now paying for some of my classes instead of taking the money from savings. Where I started managing, and I continue to manage, the creative direction of our congregation, of our social media, of our Sunday service slides, and most recently, over the past several months, I've been handling the email and changing up the website page by page. These choices, though, weren't probable choices had I continued teaching, though. I probably wouldn't have gone that direction. And so, with that door closing, as unexpected as it was, it led me to a place where I feel I have and I can continue to say yes to taking on the responsibilities of spiritual leadership, especially in light of Reverend Ron's resignation this past year. I don't know that I would have said yes to even considering the possibility of eventually becoming a spiritual leader under special dispensation while going to school if I had still been teaching. And of course, the board and I are working on what that process is going to look like. There's still paperwork to be filed and decisions to be made. But I never imagined how this process would unfold. I saw myself teaching and going to school. Well, guess what? I am. I'm teaching and going to school. But I want to say how grateful I am. Grateful for my opportunity to grow and to learn and to lean into this calling. I want to say how grateful I am for this community, for the support you have shown. Even this morning, Reverend Ron reminded me to get mic'd up. Becky reminded me, hey, it's prayer time. Keeping me ordered and kind of organized and supported through all this. Because yes, on a busy morning like this morning, sometimes even I lose sense of time and direction. But here's the thing. I still have human days every single day. Please don't put me up on a pedestal. I'm just as human as the rest of you. I still have doubt and fear just like you do. But I have learned through this process to live with a little bit more faith, to be more trusting to that universal impetus to say yes when we make the decision to say yes. I'm more trusting of my ability to be grounded through prayer and meditation, but I'm also more trusting of my ability to make sound decisions and to order and to organize, and yes, readjust with that divine guidance within, with that inner power. So I hope my story here today was helpful. Maybe you've had an experience where everything has seemed at a standstill. Maybe you've had an experience where, despite all your organizing, your best planning, your best decision making and direction, things didn't go exactly as you imagined them. However, I would also take a guess that you have had experiences where, yes, you realized that you organized as you meant to, that you made decisions as you were meant to, and you got something even greater in the end that you couldn't have possibly imagined at the time. So if there's one thing I've learned about these powers of order and will and harnessing this power is that no matter how much we organize, how much we plan, how sound our decisions are spiritually, there will be times that, yes, the universe is going to give you something greater than you could have imagined at that moment. Can you be open to saying yes still and readjusting? Because that's what the universe is asking you to do, to continue to say yes and to continue readjusting. So in this moment, I'm going to invite you to affirm with me our affirmation for today again. It'll show up here on the slides. I am divinely ordering my life. With divine guidance, I use my will to choose the best course of action. I want to thank you for your time here today. I hope you will stay and partake of the food and the fellowship after service today. And I hope that you will join us next Sunday because we're going to have a very special guest. Reverend Glory Cato is going to visit us again, and she's going to be talking about the power of strength. Thank you, and namaste.
That was absolutely wonderful, wasn't it? Wasn't that great? Oh my gosh. Whew. Well, now it's time to enter into generosity consciousness. And we want to thank everybody who has continued to bless our spiritual community with your tithes and your offerings. We're truly blessed by that giving because we wouldn't be here without it. So if you feel led by Spirit to give today, we invite you to prepare your gift now. Now, if you're led to make a recurring gift, you may want to visit our website to set that up via PayPal. Mother Teresa is quoted as saying, and I quote, "It's not how much we give, but how much love we put into giving." Unquote. So please know that if you choose to give, every and any amount that you do choose to give is so greatly appreciated. So now we invite you to hold the thought of your gift in your mind and in your heart as we say the offering blessing together that is on the screens. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. Thank you so much.
I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. Love, I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing love today. Joy, I'm choosing joy today. Yeah. I'm choosing joy today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing, I'm choosing joy today. Peace, I'm choosing peace today. I'm choosing peace today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing, I'm choosing peace today. Heaven, I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing, I'm choosing heaven today. Yes, I'm choosing heaven today.